There's something almost magical about the beginning of a relationship. The butterflies, the anticipation, the excitement of not knowing what happens next. Every message, every touch, every moment feels charged with possibility. But what most people don't realize is that this early spark isn't just emotional, it's biological. Your brain is flooded with dopamine, adrenaline, novelty, and uncertainty. It's the same cocktail of chemicals that shows up in thrill-seeking, adventure, and reward-driven behavior. Simply put, your nervous system is awake in a way that's rare and intoxicating. But as the relationship settles into something deeper, something safer, the chemistry shifts. There's less uncertainty, less novelty, less of that adrenaline dopamine surge. Instead, your brain begins releasing oxytocin, vasopressin, and signals of comfort, trust, and bonding. This feels calmer, warm, familiar, and while this emotional safety is healthy and foundational, it doesn't feel like the same spark you had in the beginning. Over time, the relationship moves from excitement to castability, from fantasy to reality, from possibility to not predictability. These transitions are normal, but they can feel jarring. Many people confuse the spark fading with something is wrong. But in truth, long-term partnerships are simply not meant to feel like early-stage infatuation. No nervous system can sustain that level of intensity forever. When a couple settles into routines, morning coffees, shared chores, nightly rituals, something interesting happens. The moments that once felt special become part of the background. The things you once looked forward to blend into everyday life. This isn't a sign that the relationship is broken. It's a sign that life has woven your connection into its fabric. But here's the quiet paradox. What makes a long-term partnership stable, secure, and dependable is the same thing that softens the spark. The moment your brain begins to feel safe, it stops scanning for novelty. And without novelty, the early rush fades. That doesn't mean passion is gone. It simply means passion has shifted into something less obvious, something that asks for intention, not just chemistry, because the spark that begins on its own won't sustain itself on its own. It needs nourishment, it needs attention, it needs the small deliberate choices that keep emotional connection alive. In the early stages of love, everything feels like discovery. But in the later stages, everything becomes familiarity. And familiarity can be comforting, but it can also make us blind to what's right in front of us. The truth is, the emotional arc of long-term relationships isn't a decline. It's a transformation, from fireworks to warmth, from obsession to partnership, from adrenaline to deep emotional safety. But if we don't understand this shift, it's easy to interpret it as loss. So many couples begin to panic the moment the spark dims. They assume the relationship is failing, when in reality, it's simply changing shape. Understanding this transformation is the first step in learning how to keep connection alive. Because once you recognize that spark isn't something you lose, it's something that evolves, you can begin to nurture it in a new, intentional way. While the emotional arc explains part of the shift, there are deeper psychological reasons relationships lose their spark over time, and most of them happen quietly, gradually, almost unnoticed. One of the biggest is habituation, a basic feature of the human brain. We adapt to everything, even the things we once longed for. The partner who once made your heart race eventually becomes part of your normal world. Their presence stops triggering the novelty reward system in your brain. You stop paying the kind of focused attention you gave them in the early days. Another reason is predictability. In the beginning, you don't know what they'll say, how they feel, or who they really are. There's mystery, anticipation, a sense of exploration. But as time goes on, you learn their rhythms, their opinions, their habits, their emotional reactions. Predictability removes uncertainty, which is calming, but it also removes the thrill of the unknown. Then there's the attachment system itself. Early relationships activate the anxious part of your brain. Will they stay? Do they like me? Is this real? This uncertainty actually fuels passion, but once you feel secure, that heightened anxiety settles, your nervous system relaxes, the very thing that once amplified desire becomes quiet. Another major contributor is cognitive and emotional load. As relationships progress, life becomes more complex. Work stress, family responsibilities, bills, chores, social obligations. All of these drain emotional bandwidth. When your mind is full of tasks and obligations, there's less room for playfulness, presence, or spontaneous intimacy. The spark doesn't disappear. It gets crowded out. Communication patterns also become automatic. Instead of deep conversations, you exchange logistical updates. What time are you home? Did you grab the groceries? Can you handle this bill? Your partner becomes a household teammate instead of a romantic companion. Another subtle factor is misinterpretations that build slowly over time. Small misunderstandings accumulate. Minor irritations go unspoken. Assumptions replace curiosity. And over time, this creates emotional distance, not through major conflict, but through tiny, repeated disconnects. Long-term couples also fall into identity merging. They stop seeing each other as separate individuals with evolving thoughts, desires, and inner lives. They assume they already know everything there is to know. But nothing kills the spark like believing there is nothing left to discover. And perhaps one of the most misunderstood reasons for fading spark is this. We stop being our full selves. We get comfortable. We get tired. We stop putting in the effort we naturally offered at the beginning. The version of ourselves our partner fell for becomes quieter, dimmer, less expressed. None of these psychological shifts mean the relationship is broken. They simply illustrate how long-term dynamics naturally soften intensity. But the good news is, what psychology helps explain, behavior can help rebuild. Most relationships don't lose their spark because of one dramatic event. They lose it because of a series of small patterns, subtle behaviors, and quiet emotional habits that accumulate over the years. One of the most common is ignoring micro connections. These are the tiny moments, the smile across the room, the brief touch on the shoulder, the inside jokes that create emotional glue. When life gets busy, these micro moments disappear, and without them, the relationship starts feeling more like coexistence than connection. Another dynamic is resentment buildup, not from major betrayals, but from little disappointments. They didn't help with something. They made a comment that stung. They forgot something important. You brushed it off, but didn't truly let it go. And slowly, resentment becomes a quiet wall between you. A third spark killer is the loss of curiosity. In the beginning, you ask questions, you explore their mind, you see them with fresh eyes, but after years together, people assume they already know their partner. They stop discovering them. And without discovery, relationships lose aliveness. Another dynamic is emotional passivity. Couples stop communicating openly, stop sharing fears, stop expressing appreciation. Silence replaces vulnerability, and with silence, intimacy weakens. Unresolved conflicts also quietly erode the spark. Not the big fights, those usually get addressed, but the small ruptures, a hurtful tone, a misunderstanding, a moment of neglect. When these go unspoken, they create emotional distance. There is also a decline in physical affection. Not necessarily sexual, but gentle contact, holding hands, resting a head on a shoulder, a hug that lingers. These micro-touches release oxytocin, deepen bonding, and maintain warmth. Without them, the relationship shifts into roommate mode. Routine is another factor. Not routine itself, but unexamined routine. When couples stop creating new experiences together, new memories, new shared stories, emotional energy flattens. Novelty isn't about doing something extravagant, it's about changing rhythm, trying something different, surprising each other with presence. And finally, there's an emotional invisibility. People stop seeing each other clearly. They stop noticing the effort their partner puts in. They stop validating the little things. Feeling unseen is one of the fastest ways for passion to fade. These relational dynamics aren't signs of failing love. They're signs of unintentional love. Love placed on autopilot. And autopilot slowly dims connection. But there is good news. A spark lost through neglect can be restored through intention.